South Georgia and homeschool applicants. I am a Georgia Tech alumnus. I have earned bachelor's and master's degrees in the history of technology, and I am around 16 credits away from finishing a second bachelor's degree in applied languages and intercultural studies with a concentration in German. So, we will go ahead and get started, and it's been a while since I've done one of these, so hopefully it's like riding a bicycle. We will see. A theme really that permeates your experience here at Georgia Tech is creating the next. And we exist here as one of the premier technological-based institutions in the Southeast to help our students to create the next, whatever that is, if they choose to be entrepreneurs, if they are going further into research or academia, or if they've decided they are going to commit their life to service or public service. We feel that our offerings here at Georgia Tech are very focused and will help our students and graduates to create the next experience for them after their experience here at Georgia Tech. So we start with a little bit of history. Picture it, we're in post-Civil War South, we're in post-Reconstruction Georgia, and industrialization is happening, and leaders in the state have decided that we need a technology-based institution that is going to help to serve the needs of the state as it moves into the new century and a new generation. And so Georgia Tech was founded in 1885. Classes were first held here in 1888. You see a nice picture here. Roughly, you all are sitting where this is on the west side of the stadium. And you see that we have a great story. As we are one of the leading research institutions in the country, and again, we are helping people to create the next, and we have a few stories here. Our motto here at Georgia Tech is progress and service, and you think of maybe service through your minds as people that are heading to college as community service or volunteer service, which certainly is a way that you can help to serve the world, but there are other ways to be in service to others. And then progress is just the idea that we are moving forward or trying to improve the human condition in some way. You may have big dreams like Joy here, or you may just want to get out, have a job, and be able to support yourself and make lots of money. That is progress, right? Still. So Joy we have here as an example. She was a Stamps President Scholar, which is one of our few merit-based scholarships that we do offer to incoming students. She has subsequently gone on, after completing a computer science degree here at Georgia Tech, to finish a master's degree at MIT, as well as a Rhodes Scholarship. And her focus is looking at bias in algorithms. And many times we think about algorithms as being something that's driven by a computer, and you would ask yourself, well, how is there bias in computing? But she found that indeed there is, and to prove this, she was looking at facial recognition software, which is something that is really coming to fore as a technology, for better or worse, in our world as we are moving through time. And she wanted facial recognition to be able to recognize the faces of 1,000 people. And what she found is that people with darker skin, and especially darker skinned women, these algorithms were unable to identify those faces. And so she has set forward to try and remove some of the bias, or at least make people more aware that even in computing and in algorithms that we think largely as being pretty neutral, that there are biases inherent even in those things. Next, John Young, who passed away just a little over a year ago, and he was an astronaut. Georgia Tech has graduated a few astronauts that have gone on to NASA, but John Young is especially known because he has had the longest career with NASA as an astronaut of anyone. I think he was maybe like the 9th person to walk on the moon, but one of the few people who was able to walk on the moon. He graduated in 1952 with highest honors as a career as an aeronautical engineering major, as it was named at the time, and he worked with NASA for 42 years. And then lastly, honestly, I don't know why I like Laura. I don't know why we have her here in the info session though, but she is a Ivan Allen graduate. So that is something that we do highlight here at Georgia Tech. You do not have to be an engineer if you do come to Georgia Tech, and Laura definitely figured that out. She was a public policy major, and subsequently, after finishing her education and a few years in Teach for America, she has gone on to Washington to work with policy think tanks on teacher effectiveness. Now, a little more about Progress and Service, and this is Colby, who is interesting in a couple of ways. He did win last year's Inventure Prize. He created some kind of sight or device that helps archers to be more accurate when they are shooting arrows. But also interesting because he is a transfer student. And we don't talk a lot about the transfer admission process, but just to be completely transparent with you, with a 20% admit rate, we are denying most students who apply as freshmen, but our transfer admission process takes in around 1,000 students per year. So that is a way that even if you are not admitted as a first year, that you can still find Georgia Tech in your future. Now, our Inventure Prize has been around for several years, and as it sounds, it's an invention competition. So students usually will form teams. In this case, he worked alone. He was just that brilliant. And they are looking to improve or design some sort of device, or maybe less commonly, a process. They build a prototype, finalists are named, they are judged by people in industry, and a winner is named. Indeed, the winner receives a prize of $25,000, and there is a $5,000 audience choice prize as well. His device is his intellectual property. Georgia Tech will assist him in patenting that device, but Georgia Tech has no stake or ownership in that device. It is purely, it belongs purely to the person who does win the Inventure Prize. It is available and open to all undergraduate students at Georgia Tech, so no matter what major it is, you are eligible if you have an idea to enter this contest, and it has recently been expanded to include some ACC member schools. Questions?